Among all the priests in the Vatican, there is one so powerful in his faith, nobility, and knowledge of the creatures that for more than 1,000 years the Church has captured all over the world. He receives the title of Chief Jailer of the Vatican. It's not a minor role, since he's the only one with access to the secret protocol every new pope must follow at night. He must also accompany him and serve as his loyal assistant during every encounter the pope must attend, regardless of the pope's wishes. With the immortals who work in the shadows for the Vatican, but also with the demons, creatures, and specters who only want to see the world burn. Why? Being the spiritual leader of over 1.4 billion people isn't the Vatican's top leader's only role. Every pope, willingly or not, must fight evil and keep its influence, hatred, and destruction off the streets, condemning them to the prison on the third basement level. The current chief jailer of the Vatican is none other than Father Ruccacu, an expert in occult arts, ancient rituals, and above all, a man with a good heart who today will face his most difficult trial. And it's no wonder. The Vatican's secret protocols assign him the dangerous task of going, accompanied by his predecessor, to the Halloween celebrations, and to observe and identify the creatures of darkness who take advantage of the opportunity to blend in among thousands of disguised humans. And not only that, if they find a being whose danger level is extreme, they must act immediately, neutralize it, and put a marker on it so that the immortal hunters can go after it right away. This mission is so dangerous that you should never risk going alone. But his predecessor, Father Pomoro, cannot accompany him. He's too old, sick, and frail. And he's going to be the first chief jailer of the Vatican in 12 centuries. Coming alone to the Halloween celebrations? However, Ruccacu was very happy in his room, getting ready to leave. Why was he happy? Because the new Pope Leon XIV. When he found out I was going, he offered himself in person to be his assistant and accompany him. Yes, to Halloween, a pagan festival not accepted by Catholics. Supposedly. And well, the first star shone in the darkness. The door to the priest's room opened and the Pope entered, saying, "Faithful Ruccacu, I am here to fulfill my promise to be your assistant tonight. I've already thought it through. Am I going to dress up as a pirate? When I was a child, I always wanted to sail the seas on adventures, but the priest interrupted him. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Your Holiness. I have here the sacred Halloween costumes for today. Both made for the occasion by Swan Maiden. The Swan Maiden of the Celts, we have her in cell 311, do you know? So she doesn't fly away again. Don't look at me like that, Your Holiness. I know they look like simple, ridiculous little wings, but that's how it's written. We have to wear them because, well, these wings activate in the presence of evil. You know, some of those creatures will be impossible to identify tonight with so many people in costume. So you and I will have to wear the fairy wings. I'll go with these." The Pope couldn't help but burst out laughing when he saw the priest wearing the little angel wings. But he put on his own wings and his smile disappeared immediately, and he said seriously, "For God's sake, Saint Ruccacu, are you sure I have to wear just this, nothing else? What? Everyone is going to recognize me, and by tomorrow I'll be on the cover of every newspaper. What?" The priest answered him, "That's how it's written, but it's not the last thing we'll wear. We're following you, Your Holiness. Tonight, we will be in enemy territory, and every creature will feel free to come out, and many will try to gather with others of their kind. That's why we'll wear these belts full of essential tools for the occasion. Like these houses, silver, holy water, these trackers, and of course, the traditional wafers, the consecrated stars of Halloween. Don't worry, no one is going to recognize you today in this city. Everyone will think you're wearing an excellent Pope costume. You'll see there will be several like you out there, maybe without the ridiculous little wings, but well, you get it? It's time, Your Holiness. We'll walk to Patria Square in Rome. We're only 10 minutes away. Our informants in the occult said there are rumors that powerful entities will arrive there tonight. Stay with me and you'll learn in detail everything that happened, and this adventure will leave you, believe me, without someone. Subscribe. I promise I won't disappoint you, because yes, you already know it. Say it with me. 1, 2, 3. I am El Dogmentalista, and this is Halloween Special. Ruccacu and the Pope will try to survive Halloween night. From the shadows to the light, from mystery and intrigue, touching on more taboo. And I discovered in the midst of stubbornness that parallel worlds exist, and through my mistakes I learned humility, making a pact with the heavens. I am El Dogmentalista. Both of them left through the secret tunnel just outside St. Peter's Square, and in silence they began to walk toward Patria. Exactly as the priest had said, it didn't take long for them to spot children and adults dressed as the Pope. Even a lady dressed as a witch came over and congratulated him, saying, "That's the best costume I've seen. It looks so real, but I don't think the Pope can fly. Anyway, congratulations. And the wings move, it's excellent." As soon as he left, the Pope looked at the priest and said, "My little wings fluttered. What's going on, Ruccacu?" "And Ruccacu?" he replied, "Mine too, Your Holiness. That woman was a real witch. But just first or second degree, you know. They cast minor spells, tell fortunes, and not much more. We're looking for the 5th degree ones today. In that case, the wings just melt in the presence of that kind of entities. Be careful, they burn." "Leon?" he asked. "Grade 5, Ruccacu, what is that?" The priest became serious and replied, "Grade 5 on the scale of a chief jailer is any entity that carries absolute evil in its heart.
A grade 5 witch sacrifices children and can fly using ointments.
All vampires are grade 5, especially the solitary wanderers, the anomalies, and the ancient Nosferatu who hunt for pleasure. A werewolf is always grade 5, and let's not even talk about the reconstructed ones. You already know. Those dead people that some mad scientist digs up from the grave for a lot of money and uses parts from other corpses to bring them back to life. But since the soul never returns, what they really have inside is always a demon. And well, unless a pagan god or the devil himself shows up. No, there's hardly anything worse. When they turned the corner, both of their jaws dropped to the floor in astonishment. In that square, there were thousands of people in costumes, musical shows, and children asking for candy everywhere. Leon asked, "How is it possible that we haven't done anything to stop such paganism?" Ruccacu? The priest replied, "Of course we did, Your Holiness, but it didn't work. It didn't last long, see? Halloween has roots in the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, but it took its modern form when the church tried to Christianize that celebration. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III established November 1st as All Saints' Day, and the night before became known as All Hallows' Eve, the eve of All Saints' Day. Over time, that date meant to honor the dead became mixed again with popular superstitions about wandering souls and evil presences. To confuse or scare away those spirits, people began to dress up by covering their faces or adopting demonic appearances as a kind of ritual protection. And well, as you can see, Halloween, it's becoming more and more popular, But the conversation was interrupted because both of their wings melted in a second, and they had to take them off immediately to avoid burns. Ruccacu looked in all directions until he spotted a boy who had passed by, pointed at him with his finger and said, "Look, I'm sure it's him. Follow me, Your Holiness. We must neutralize his powers with holy water and place a marker on him so our hunters can find him tonight, and then take him to the prison on the 3rd basement level. Follow me." The Pope said, "Wait, Ruccacu, do you mean that little guy dressed as Frankenstein who's running away?" The priest replied, "I'm afraid that's not a costume, Your Holiness." Follow me from the video. And at a brisk pace they followed the boy until, to their astonishment, they saw him lift a heavy iron cover from the alley floor and go down into the sewers. Ruccacu, seeing that the space was too small for his body to fit through, discreetly said to Papa Rapido, "His Holiness, we should enter through the drain exit on the other street. These manholes and sewers aren't designed for big-boned people like me." Papa, like a loyal assistant, followed them into a narrow tunnel, entering while crouched. The drains were dry but infested with rats. From their belts, they took out flashlights to light the way, and they didn't even have to go 200 meters when they found him with his back turned, eating a piece of raw meat. The priest said, "There is His Holiness. He's a reconstructed one. Take the holy water and the marker from your belt. What he has inside is a demon, and we're going to weaken it before... Oh my God." Ruccacu's expression showed their terror. The reconstructed one turned, and they saw him clearly. Part of his face was torn off, his eyes glowed like a demonic cat's, and his head was covered in scars. Meanwhile, what was left of the rat's body that he was eating was still writhing, as if it were alive, even though it no longer had a head. The boy Frankenstein looked at them, and in a deep demonic voice said to them, "What are you doing down here? Are you trying to catch me? Why? Is this body I possess called Iluka? He died in an accident a few months ago. His mother couldn't bear it and paid a fortune to bring him back to life. Was I going to let a body come back with nothing inside? No, of course not. So I got in, of course. I murdered the little one's mother only when I got bored of her presence." Ruccacu sprinkled holy water and said, "In the name of Christ, tell us your name, demon." The reconstructed one shuddered and knocked down one of the walls to escape before the Pope could place the marker on him. The priest chased him and ordered Leon to go the other way to corner him, but as soon as the Pope entered the right drain, he ran into him face to face. Leon ordered him, "Tell me your name, despised by the Most High. What is your name?" He also threw holy water at him. The priest did the same from behind. The reconstructed one took refuge by a wall and screamed. "My name is Furfur. Stop it already." Throwing that at me, "I swear I'll kill you both, but if you let me, Anir, go. I'll tell you where it's hidden. Yes, I'll tell you where the body of L'Anunnaki that you killed is hidden." The Pope ordered Silence Furfur, demon of the occult arts, to discover hidden treasures. "We want nothing from you." But Ruccacu cut him off, saying, "Your Holiness, we do want to know. We've searched for that body for years. In 1385, Pope Urban VI and his guards beheaded one of the L'Anunnaki who visited them, and we never knew where he buried the corpse. It's a treasure for us, because many people in the world believe that they are gods and the true creators of human beings. And as you well know, the corpse of one is enough proof that they are not, because no god can die." The reconstructed one approached and said, "The fat guy is right, and I can tell you where he is. But..." Ruccacu interrupted him, threw more holy water at him, and said, "Silence, Furfur, insolent liar. I'm not a fat guy. Reveal to us the place where L'Anunnaki's body is, and you can leave." The reconstructed, distrustful but weak, answered him, "It is buried in the gardens of Castel Gandolfo, the mad Pope Urbano VI. He always buried everything he abhorred there and planted a rosebush on top, ordering that no one should ever dare to remove it. And after confessing the location, they let him go. But when he passed near the priest placed his marker on his clothes without Furfur noticing. The Pope whispered to him, "Good job, Ruccacu. Congratulations. It was a great adventure. Mission accomplished." And the priest puffed out his chest with pride. But he interrupted him, saying, "In less than an hour, our hunters will catch him and he'll end up in the Vatican prison. But we can't leave yet. Your Holiness, the night is just beginning." They returned to the square, and without the little wings that gave away the sea. Both had to resort to classic surveillance and observation to detect if there was any other creature there. The Pope quickly spotted a solitary woman, young and extremely beautiful, who was walking around dressed like a vampire. And he said to the priest, "I think we have another creature, Ruccacu." That young woman walked past the shop window, and she didn't reflect in it. The priest said, "Are you sure, Your Holiness? We only have one marker left, and we can't waste it." "I think we should talk to her, but first, let's spray ourselves with garlic essence. It's the small bottle on her belt." Both covered themselves with the strong scent of fresh garlic and walked to the beautiful young woman who saw them. When she recognized the Pope and saw the fisherman's ring, she looked away and said to them, "You can smell that garlic from miles away." And noticing that his ring was forged from the remains of some ancient relic, "I sense their power. Are they coming to capture me?" "Have others tried?" Yes. In 200 years, several have tried. None survived." "Leave now." "I don't want to put on a bloody show in front of so many children. Our race values discretion very highly." Ruccacu told her, "You're a wanderer, a loner, one of the worst kinds of vampire." She smiled and replied, "Please, priest, you're mistaken about me. It's true, I'm a vampire, and of the worst kind. You'll see. My name is Josephine, and in 1820 I was returning home to England aboard the ship Atlas. My wedding to a wealthy Briton in India had fallen through. So I returned on that imposing ship when a storm caught us by surprise. That night I saw him, that handsome sailor, as he entered my cabin, and I fell into his arms. When I realized his fangs were growing, I screamed, but it was already too late. He bit me, and before I died, he made me drink his blood. When I woke up as a vampire, I was at the bottom of the sea, completely alone. The Atlas had split in half when it ran aground and sank. So I had to learn on my own, and yes, I was a lonely wanderer for decades. That's why I tell you that you're wrong about me. I traveled all over Europe, and in Romania I met 2 charming vampires, and now I have my own clan. And by the way, they're right behind you. They both turned around and saw in horror that indeed they were surrounded by 2 vampires. One of them was tall, handsome, and strong. And he said to him in Romanian, "Don't try to escape or we'll tear you apart like you're nothing but simple lambs." Ruccacu looked at the Pope and whispered to him, "An idea, Your Holiness. We have the steaks and the consecrated star wafers, but we won't be fast enough." The Pope told the vampires, "I don't think they want to put on a show like that here in front of everyone, Ruccacu. It would be best to go somewhere more private." The Vampire Josephine agreed, and pointing to the old hotel on the corner, said, "We have a room there. Come on, you come with us. You'll be our guests of honor." As they walked escorted toward the old hotel, Ruccacu said to the Pope, "Excellent, Your Holiness. Now what is the next step of your plan?" Leon looked at him intently and replied, "I'm supposed to be just your loyal assistant, Ruccacu. I'm not Van Helsing. I don't have any plan. I pressed the button on the tracker we had left to indicate our position, and I only bought us some time so our hunters could come save us. But I didn't expect the hotel to be so close. Think of something, Ruccacu. I knew it wasn't a good idea to go with him. I knew it." Ruccacu, he discreetly took the silver stake in one hand and the water essence in the other, hiding them in his sleeves. And he signaled to the Pope to do the same. And as soon as they entered the hotel, the vampires opened the door and pushed them inside, but Ruccacu slammed it shut, leaving them outside. Immediately, the Romanians started smashing it, breaking through it with their arms. To get in, the priest shouted, "Now, Your Holiness!" And the Pope and Ruccacu drove the silver stakes into his hands. The metal melted immediately, and, with screams of pain, the damned began to disintegrate into burning particles. Meanwhile, Josephine, enraged, ran up to them and knocked down the door, ripping it from the frame and making them fall. Like a furious puma, she approached the 2 of them, saying, "I was planning to give you a quick death. But what have you done, no? I'm going to rip your arms and legs off before turning you into vampires. And if you survive, you'll spend eternity crawling like worms." Ruccacu and the Pope took out garlic essence at the same time and sprayed it on her, leaving her blind for a moment. Then they took the ninja star-shaped communion wafers and threw them at her from a distance with good aim. One landed in Josephine's hair and the other grazed her cheek, leaving a scar. As she passed by, she yanked her hair out in one go, dropped the wafer, and ran away. While she screamed in pain down the hallway, the Pope and the priest celebrated, laughing, still shaken by fear. Leon said to him, "We did it! Ruccacu, I never doubted you!" I was just pushing him a little so he could show his full potential. But he didn't finish the sentence when the wall of the room blew apart and Josephine came back in. As beautiful as ever, her hair was perfect and her cheek was unmarked. She looked at them with hatred and said, "Are you out of tricks already? You should have brought more silver stakes if you wanted to survive." And they saw how Josephine's fangs grew as she ran toward them to catch them. The Pope closed his eyes before the inevitable and thought, "This is the end." And I couldn't even be Pope for a whole year. At least I hope to rest in peace, but with my bad luck, I'll probably run into Ruccacu and his weird stuff in the afterlife. The priest closed his eyes and thought, "It's the end." And I didn't even get to try Neapolitan pizza, which is the one they make in the Augustinians' dining hall. The one they recommended to me, saying they made it with double oregano and homemade olive oil. And just like that, no, that's how Mom used to make it. Josephine's claws were just inches away from reaching them when the window shattered into 1,000 pieces and Lazarus, the resurrected one of the immortal hunters of the Vatican, came in with a kick that threw the vampire woman against the wall. She recovered and attacked again. But Lazarus drew a well-sharpened silver sword and, in a circular motion, severed her head with a single stroke. The metal melted upon contact with the vampire's blood, and while the remains of Josephine burned and turned to ashes, the immortal hunter looked at Ruccacu and said, "Another good sword lost." Anyway, excellent plan, Ruccacu. You really are a genius. How did you think to tighten the score and stall until I got here? You probably guessed we were close because we went to capture the reconstructed one they had marked. Good Lord, you must be the smartest man in the whole world. Ruccacu puffed out his chest and said, "I must confess that yes, I am. Just like Mom used to say, you're my little Ruccacu." All smart and round, although I never understood what she meant. Well, anyway, dear Lazaro, His Holiness here present, he also deserves some credit because he helped me a little. The Pope gave him a withering look and grumbled, but he quickly greeted the hunter warmly. They had met when Leon had to undertake his first holy hunt, and together they defeated a Leviathan. But there was a hint of disappointment in his eyes, because Lazaro is only the substitute and assistant to the main hunter. Of Judas, Iscariot, and Leon, he regretted that he still hadn't been able to meet with him. Ruccacu was the one who asked, saying, "Where is our beloved Judas?" "Lazaro," he replied. Judas went back to the Vatican to take the rebuilt one that you marked for the prison on the 3rd basement level. We caught him easily, and we were already on our way back when the other markers started beeping on our tracker. I came as quickly as I could. The Pope said, what a pity, I wanted to finally meet him." I don't buy what you guys say, that he never betrayed Jesus and that he was his best friend. No, I don't buy it at all. And I have a few things to say to him, Lazarus replied. In that case, don't worry. Your Holiness, in the square, while we were walking among the people, following the marker's signal, we ran into one of the most feared creatures. So terrible that our power can't handle it, and we had to let it go, contenting ourselves with following it from afar, just watching where it was heading while enjoying the music of the pagan party this Halloween. That thing will only listen to reason with you, Your Holiness, because you are the bearer of the fisherman's ring. So tonight, Judas Iscariot is waiting for you. And together you'll go hunting for that terrible fawn. The Pope laughed and said, "Are you pulling my leg?" If that thing even exists, isn't it a fawn? That friendly creature, half human, with little horns and ram's legs. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Tonight is impossible. It's almost dawn. I really thought I could finally get some sleep today. Better. Let's leave it for the day after tomorrow, when... But Ruccacu interrupted him, saying, I'm sorry, Your Holiness, that's not possible to postpone. You see, a fawn is the only known Class 6 creature. I didn't mention it because there are so few, and I never thought we'd come across one. Don't be fooled by its appearance. Your Holiness, when a fawn gets angry, he enchants everyone with the music of his flute. And well, once the Incas in Machu Picchu found one, they bothered it trying to catch it. Terrible idea. That summer of 1537, the 4,000 inhabitants of that sacred city and its surroundings were hypnotized by its music. And historians, you know, still say that the city was abandoned overnight, but we know the truth. It was a fawn who got angry, enchanted them, and forced them to walk to the sound of his flute toward the Urubamba River. And out of all of them, the 4,000, including women and children, drowned. So, I'm afraid that Your Holiness won't be able to sleep tonight either, because that's how it's written. If a fawn appears, whether you want to or not, will you visit Judas Iscariot to go hunting with him? If you don't want to miss the next episode, leave me a like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. And above all, if you've made it this far, it means you're one of the most loyal followers of the documentarian. Prove it. Leave me a comment with the hashtag Halloween. I am El Documentalista. And this was the Halloween special. Ruccacu and the Pope will try to survive Halloween night.